No, I mean, I spend probably at least every day. My dad, at the end of the sessions, will throw me balls with his hands up there, and I'm gonna have to repeat that shot like 50, 100 times, really, and that's the only way.
That took some. Here we are for another edition of Boast About It with Victor Crouin. Now, for those of you that have watched every episode, you'll know that Victor has been on this show before.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you for coming. We are in the middle of a 4-hour clinic.
Yeah.
So if you see me sweating, it's not from the questions, it's from
cooling
Victor.
down.
Victor killing me on the court. And we are, for the very first time, in front of a studio audience. So if you hear noises in the background, we're going to get other people to ask questions. Victor, so we chatted sort of at the beginning of the squash season last year, and we talked a little bit about sort of your goals for the year. Did you achieve them? How do you feel about the year?
Do you remember them?
I do remember.
There's no secret. If you want to go up on the ranking, you have to beat the top players, which I've done a few times last season.
Yeah.
But I need to
get some amazing
back
wins.
up those performances and do them again and again, so that I can be back in the top 8.
So
no, it was a long season. I remember I was here in New York to play the Open Squash Classic, and then made the final, which was a good achievement, but just short of my goal of winning a bronze event, which I eventually did later at the German Open in March.
I remember texting you afterwards.
Yes. So that was a big accomplishment because I've been waiting to win another bronze event since February 23, I believe. It was in DC back then. So yeah, it was good to get that win. Obviously, I won the European Championship, individual championship. I won the French Nationals, which are 2 goals of mine every year. I really want to come out on top every time I play those 2 events. I mean, this year I've been trying to rebuild, kind of reshape my training environment to kind of shift my focus more on the Olympics in 3 years instead of just being focused on short-term results on the PSA World Tour. So I still have that goal of breaking back into the top 8, which I haven't achieved yet.
And to remind the audience, so your highest ranking was number 7.
Yes,
I think.
that's right.
You're currently number 12, though you're about to be number 11.
Yeah, probably 11 when this show will be released.
Probably, because Tark Momen retired.
Yeah. So I maintain my ranking of 11s with our two players retiring from the tour. So,
hey, we take what we can get.
Yeah, I mean, but no, of course we'll miss Ali and Tarek on tour.
They were 2 great players. They really
and playing the game the way it should be as well. So
I'm not sure I want to dive into too much about how some people play differently than other people.
Sure.
But let's just say those 2 players were great on and off court. The way they played, the way they maintained themselves.
Yeah.
They were fantastic.
Can't agree more. Since winning the German Open, I went on a very good streak of matches. Almost took out Diego Elias at the Grasshopper Cup.
Yeah, I saw that.
Played my best European Team Championship to date, winning my 5 matches over the 4-day tournament, beating Mohamed El Shobagi for the first time. So that was a big moment for me. Doing it with the French jersey on as well.
Oh yeah.
And then I kept going with a good result at the World Champs in Chicago, and a quarterfinal finish at the British to end the season. So pretty happy about the way I finished the season. I feel like my game is back on track. Done a lot of mental work to kind of reassess my identity as a player, what kind of style of play I want to bring to the court.
So I just earlier this week, I just interviewed Mike Way
Yeah.
for the same series, and he told me,
Victor is so methodical in his whole life.
Yeah.
And I have never in my life met a more structured individual. He leaves no stone unturned. And as I said, methodical in everything that he does.
which I thought was an amazing compliment. So you say you have a new identity for yourself. What's the difference between the old and the new?
Yeah, I mean, not necessarily a new identity, but one that I trust more now. I'm not just looking for the identity or kind of searching myself on court. I know I play my best squash when I'm on the tee and volleying, so I'm trying to play a game where have those opportunities to volley, which means laying the ball down on the sidewall with good accuracy. And there was a time where, and there are still times where I want to just outplay my opponents with my physicality, just playing faster and being more powerful. But sometimes it just doesn't work, and just just shifting back that focus to using the technique and outsmart or outskilling my opponents kind of work best nowadays.
You have this shot, I've seen you do it several times for outright winners, where it's on the backhand, you go to volley it way up here. Sometimes I've even seen you hit it with both feet off the floor, and it goes into the other corner and out, rolling out the neck.
Across the neck, volley across the neck.
Yeah. Is
I
that
mean,
a shot that you actually practice?
Yeah, no, I do practice it a lot, and that's why I play often as well, because I trust I can hit it well and win the rally.
It's an amazing shot.
No, I mean, I spend probably at least every day. My dad, at the end of the sessions, will throw me balls with his hands
Up
there, and I'm gonna have to repeat that shot like 50, 100 times, really, and that's the only way. Mike says repetition makes perfect, so I try and do as many repetitions as possible under pressure, so that when I'm competing, I can play that shot with consistency and trusting myself in the big moments. Yeah.
When we met last, as you said, your goal was to sort of get back into the top 8. Didn't quite get there, though 11. It's close. When I looked at those results, it struck me as unbelievably complicated. Is it as complicated as it seems?
Scheduling, planning is a skill.
Yeah.
And I mean, it depends on what your goals are. My main goal has shifted towards being ready for the Olympics. So I'm okay playing fewer events in the short term, which means I miss a few opportunities to really get my ranking or optimize my chances to get my ranking as high as possible. Like I played 14 events. I'd say the best number of events to play to get your ranking as high as possible is 15 or 16, because that's the threshold when the divider moves from 11 to 12. So you either play 15 events and keep your divisor to 11, or you play 16 events and your divisor moves up to 12. So that's the threshold. I decided to play 14 because I thought that was enough tournaments to be able to have good training blocks of 4 or 5 weeks of training, and then move on to compete for 2 or 3 weeks, so 2 or 3 tournaments in a row, and that 3 or 4 or 5 times per season, with the goal of really doing as well as possible during those training blocks, so that in 3 years I can peak at the Olympics.
Now they've taken the Olympic draw down to 16.
They did, yeah.
Right, and it's 1 per country.
Yeah.
So as long as you win the French nationals, you're in the Olympics.
Maybe not. I mean, we're still waiting on the official criteria to qualify for the Olympics, so it's still in the air. They could ask for every player to qualify, so every player would have to play their continental championship, the Pan Am Games, the Asian Games, the European Championship, and the African Games. It doesn't exist at the minute, but that's like the most extreme version of giving everyone a shot to qualify. It should be announced end of the year, beginning of 26. So we'll just wait for that to happen. So right now I'm really focused on getting my game, on improving my game, and then if there is a moment where ranking is taking into account to qualify, well, maybe I'll start optimizing my ranking. Every year you need to be careful and take care of your body. I'm now 26, so I'm getting inside my prime years, I guess, but it's also because it's your prime years, it's also the years where you end up playing more than you used to, because you go further in the draws. Because there's a big difference between playing 14 events and losing first round every time, which is 14 matches, and playing 14 events and going to the final every time, which is, let's say, 4 matches, which is 56 matches.
Oh, yeah.
So you move from 14 to 56. So you really need to be careful on how much you do outside your PSO events as well, whether it's NSL in the US, leagues in Europe, exhibition matches, camps, etc., to make sure your body can hold up a season at a time.
Well, thanks for doing the camp here.
Of course, of course.
One of the things that I noticed is that there's this, on the Pro Tour, there's this fairly big gap between it changes, but between the top 3 and 4, and then like 5 to 12, 13, 14.
Yeah, I'd say you have the top 4 locked in right now, if you look at the end of the season. And then you have 5 to 8, who still, 5 to 7 now, who are still there's a big gap between 7 and 8. And then from 8 to pretty much 15, 16.
You're all really close.
It's very close.
Very,
so
very, very,
you can
very
get
competitive.
1 or 2 big results, you can move fast towards the top 8.
Yes.
And those players between 8 and 16 are pretty much from the same generation. There's probably a gap of 2 years max, except
Oh, I hadn't done that. Is
except
that right?
Mohamed Zakaria, who's now filling the gap and just inside that group of players. But yeah, we all between 26 and 29 max in that group of players. So it's probably the future of the PSA Tour,
Wow.
with some of the other younger players coming up, really.
Yeah. So we have a couple of people here in the audience. Wonder, do you have any questions you'd like to ask Victor?
I had something. I saw your day in the life of.
Yes.
Yeah. And it was about the journaling.
Yeah.
You two and your dad, when you exchange notes.
Yeah.
If you could shed some light, because I've started to do that earlier this year.
You do journaling with your father. You do a journal, he does a journal, and you compare notes. Could you sort of dive into that a little bit?
Yeah, so I started when I was still home at my parents' house, and I was working every day with my dad, coach. And so to make the discussion, dialogue, and better, he made me do some reflection, because sometimes the conversations that we can have on court can be heated just because I'm tired and I might not react well enough. So it's good that when I cool down, there is a time where I can reflect on the training that we just had, and I can put into words what really happened, what I thought about the training, if it was hard enough, too hard, so that he can adjust for the next training session. When you write something, you can delete, you can add, you have some reflection before you can put your thoughts into words, which sometimes can be a bit better than what you can say face to face. So that was in a notebook first. So he would print the session on the notebook, and then I would add my comments, he would add his comment, and we would both just look at that notebook to kind of stay updated. And then I moved to boarding school in Aix-en-Provence, and so we moved to an Excel sheet, a shared Excel sheet, and obviously with the Excel sheet we were able to gather more data as well. And now we're on a platform called Nolio. It's a French
NOLIO.
training platform, and it's a great way to kind of collaborate with all my staff. So everybody know my schedule in advance. My dad can put the sessions. I can look at them before I go to the squash club and do the session with them.
How big is your staff?
So right now I have my dad,
Yeah.
who's my main coach, always been. I'm working more and more often with the staff at the National Squash Center in Aix-en-Provence. So that's Mathieu Castagnier, the national squash coach. That's call him Philippe, the strength and conditioning coach at the center. That's a sports psychologist, a former Olympian, that's working with me to prepare me for the Olympics. So that's my core group of people that I work with daily or weekly. And those are the people that have access to that platform.
How important is the mental part of the game?
Probably the most important factor between winning and losing a match, just making the right decision under pressure.
Have you had any sort of breakthroughs or troubles or interesting stories to tell on that side?
Something like you never get to a point where you say, okay,
You never win.
Yeah, you keep learning every. For example, you take visualization. You might want to visualize how you want the match to go. It never goes this way, and you always have to adapt to like a certain moment or situation that erupts, that come. There's always unexpected things happening on the squash court. It could be because of technology. It could be because of refereeing decisions that you feel aren't fair. It could be because of like a contact or something that happened with your opponent. It could be your racket breaking. It could be something before getting to the squash court as well. So I'd say the biggest strength is being ready to adapt to any situation.
Fantastic. Any other questions?
I have a question.
Yeah.
I was wondering, where are your favorite places to go? And when you obviously you're on tour all the time, so do you look forward to specific events because of certain places? Do you enjoy going to these places, and are you able to relax a little bit when you're touring?
Yes, I mean, usually I'm happy to travel when I've been home training for. So usually I try and get 4 weeks in of training, and starting at the end of the third week, there's something in my mind that's like, I want to leave now. I want to be competing. So usually I'm just excited to be traveling, and I don't mind the traveling part, being in the train, in an airport, flying over the Atlantic. That's fine to me. I mean, I like to come to New York.
Good. That was the right answer, by the way.
Of course. No, but I mean, I prefer coming to New York for the Open Squash Classic in October than the TOC in January because of the weather. New York in the fall is just beautiful.
It is. It is.
And it's great to be outside. It's great to be in the club.
Yeah.
There's just so many people I can catch up with in the city. So.
Any other favorite places?
Yeah, I really enjoyed my trip to Hong Kong last year. So I stayed a week in Singapore and then 3 weeks in Hong Kong. And Hong Kong in November, December is pretty much our summer in Europe or the US. So it's a very good weather. There's a lot of places to explore. Singapore was nice as well. Yeah, honestly, I like going to most of the places I go to.
Any other questions?
Sure. The pros are always changing how they play squash, and the refereeing is always changing, and there's a lot of changes in the last year. Do you actually train for the change?
Yeah, I mean,
So what is it? What is the big, the refereeing is changing, the players are changing. What do you see as the biggest difference from a year ago?
from a year ago, maybe not so much. I mean, from the past few years, I think it's getting more and more physical, and it's originally not something that I enjoy in the sport. I always say, like, if you take squash as a game of chess and boxing, I love the intellectual part of the chess, and boxing is not really my thing. But at some point, if you want to win, you kind of have to get into it and appreciate that side of the game. I mean, we're two players on the same surface, so there's going to be contact. You have to play with it, play through, which means sometimes you have to play through, sometimes you just have to push through. Sometimes you have to take your space or just hold your ground. It's just accepting that it's part of the game and deal with the situation. It's another learning experience, to be honest. And like any job, there's going to be part of the job that you enjoy, part of the job that you don't enjoy, but you have to perform. So you just adapt to it.
It does seem, though, that I would say maybe this year there has been some evolution in the reffing. Do you feel that as a pro?
At some point, I try and get involved in the reffing and collaborating and talking to refs.
Oh, do the refs talk to you?
Yeah, there were instances, and there are opportunities for players to interact with the ref in before or during the events to kind of understand what's going on in their mind when they also make the decision.
Yeah.
It's very easy to be sitting on the chair or watching TV and kind of discussing the decisions. I'm sure
it's quite fun.
Yeah, it is. It is tough to be in their position, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
And so I think collaborating with them just helps to make the game smoother and at least understand their position when we get sanctioned, for example, or when we don't get sanctioned, and adapt to it. They're the officer, and you have to adapt to the way they see the game in the moment. Otherwise, you'll end up losing the match.
Victor, thank you very much. This was fantastic. I hope to see you in the top 8, but more importantly,
thank you.
I hope to see you with a medal.
Yes. We'll have more interviews before that.